My toxic boss called my reports unreadable until I proved she was the one who wrote them. This happened 19 years ago when I worked for State Street Bank for one of the worst human beings alive, Paula. If you live in Boston and are looking to work there, just skip it. It's a horrible place, and Paula made sure of that every single day. I was on a project team tackling complex financial problems. In reality, it was a mushroom farm. Paula kept us in the dark and fed us garbage. All I did was compile reports from people who were terrified of our team. I realized I'd been bait and switched and started looking for an exit immediately. Paula had a habit of criticizing everything. She didn't care if the numbers were right. She just wanted to rip your work to shreds over the stupidest things. One of my tasks was a weekly update on certain oil warrants out of Nigeria. We had an option to buy at $30 per barrel when prices peaked at 90. We had to monitor this because the liability for the bank would have been massive. Week after week, Paula would review my report and rip me a new one. She'd scream about the format, the verbiage, and every tiny thing not related to the actual data. It was total power tripping. One day, I was digging through network files and found an old folder from a similar project. It was Paula's own work from before she was a manager. I decided to perform a little experiment. I used her exact format for everything. The structure, the cover letter, even her specific language. I updated the numbers and the dates, but the rest was a Paula original. I brought it to her office and she absolutely lost her mind. She asked what happened to the old format. I kept a blank look and said, since you didn't like what I'd been doing, I thought it best to change it around. She told me this was the worst I had ever submitted. She went on a 10-minute rant about how unprofessional it was. Finally, she asked what I was thinking when I made these changes. I looked her straight in the eye and said, I was actually following your lead, Paula. I found your old folders and used your past work verbatim. Here are the printouts of your original reports to compare. She went from screaming red to ghostly white in 4 seconds. She just stared at the papers, completely dumbstruck. The silence was deafening. I leaned in and asked, so if this is bad, should I go back to my old format? She didn't apologize. She just signed off and muttered, send them as is. We don't have time to redo them. I made sure to twist the knife. Wait, are you sure? You just said they were unreadable. She just waved me out without looking up. I knew she'd try to hide the evidence. And sure enough, she deleted those old folders the next morning. But I had already saved all of her templates to my local drive. For the rest of my time there, it was a cat and mouse game. Every time she tried to criticize my writing, I'd pull out one of her old templates. She eventually realized I had the receipts and she finally backed off. I quit a few months later for a much better job. So fuck you, Paula. Thanks for the templates. What do you guys think? Is there anything better than watching a toxic boss tear apart their own work? Let me know in the comments if you've ever caught a boss in their own trap. Drop a boss in the comments if you've dealt with a manager like this.